Mike Taylor, the king of the getting wrecked. First.
Oh no, the video is frozen.
Oh no, look at that.
Let's do some. Why is it freezing though?
I want to meme myself.
Hold on. Yeah, we may have to go videoless while it's being a douchebag.
No.
I know it's.
No one's going to believe this is a radio show now.
And now the video's gone tight.
Come on, man. I want to be Pat McAfee. Come on, man.
It could be. I could try and shove it in a different. Oh, well, we've got sound.
Well, look, we're back.
So I'll keep an eye on it because I'm not convinced I won't do it again.
Let's see.
Yeah, right. So.
All right, here we go.
Share the.
This is, as long-term viewers will know, this is our
the garbage time. Usually, garbage time comes in the fourth quarter for us, right at the start.
For years, we've said to ourselves we should make a garbage time like compilation,
real,
just to see what shit we say before the pod starts.
It would be good, yeah. But there must be some great stuff.
There's probably some really irreverent stuff in there.
All right, but now end of garbage time.
Only a few idea effect. Not really up. Nigel couldn't make it. Mendon always said he could make it. Don't dig this hole. Phil, credit to the guy. Always standing up to him. Yeah, because he is a shocking person. You guys got a trophy? No. It was pretty bit. Well, that's from Rashad Mendon. Hi, I'm tired, Jack. I'm fucking tired.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the LOC Report, only the second of 2021 technically. We've had an extended preseason, but don't fret, Chris's contract is still good, he's still here, there's no renegotiation going there, so...
No, that's it, I've been doing the full Aaron Rodgers, alright? That's it. I'm going away, I've forgotten about preseason, and then I'll come back feeling valued apart. Well,
yeah, you got the final year of your deal voided. So if you want to go to a rival podcast, you can.
100%. I might sack it all off and just and go and present a game show because that's what I'm about.
Yeah, using your current team as a springboard or something.
Absolutely that's right. That's it. 100%.
But yeah, no, we're back. Chris is back, of course. We're in the new LAC HQ. Last time it was a garden, but that was April. This is July, so we're allowed to be sat within a meter of each other now, which is great.
We can.
We're both double jabbed.
We are both double jabbed.
So
yes, we are.
Our vaccination rate is probably far higher than the NFL's at this point.
I would say so. I mean, absolutely no messing around with COVID here. We're not going to get pinged at the end of the year.
No.
So yeah. I mean, big time looking forward to this.
Yeah, and usually, we start the off-season a bit earlier. Last year, we obviously had an episode for each of the Hall of Fame episodes. This year, we were just going to do them all in one, and then a follow-up with a couple of stragglers.
Yep.
We're also going to talk about AGM Recap today, and then after we do those two episodes, we do everyone's favourite, looking back at last year's draft and the season as a whole. Obviously, screw it. You know what? We'll save that for the news because we've got to get the jingle in. So,
here we go. We're going to break it out.
It's been a while. It's been a while. First time for 2021, probably. Here we go. It's the league news.
And news of the day so far is that I'm going to refresh myself as I go along in more than one way. But that's it. Not to get completely banned off YouTube, but we are going to have some Birra Moretti on the way, which is Britain's most authentic Italian beer, despite the fact it doesn't come from Italy. So that's it. Which there you go. How about that? That's it. Word of the day. If you want an authentic Italian beer, go and get a Peroni in a brown bottle, not in the green bottles, because the posh ones. All right, but the brown bottles.
Oh, brown bottle. Okay.
You won't find them in this country, so it's it. Well, if you do, it's got to be some backwater cash and carry somewhere. But anyway, there you have it.
It's interesting. It's kind of like how Carlsberg they made. Not what Carlsberg in the UK is a version of Carlsberg specifically brewed for the UK, which is watered down and less percent. Carlsberg Export is what they have in Europe.
It's the proper one.
The proper one that you can also buy, but it's quite hard to get here. So.
Yeah, exactly that.
But Birra Moretti, it might be Britain's finest authentic Italian beer, but it's actually pretty good.
It's not. I'll take it. That's it. Chin chin. That's it. New season. Anyway, proper news now.
Yeah, onto the combined 7 and 28 campaign that we'll.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. This is what happens in the draft. That's it.
Speaking speaking of draft, that's a good segue.
That wasn't bad.
So we've got some league events coming up. So I believe it is Saturday, the 21st of August.
Sure is.
Is going to be the divisional lining event. It doesn't sound like we'll quite have a full house, but with exception to Ollie Gardner and possibly Dave Henderson, he may be back from Italy. We will have to see.
He'll know about authentic Italian beer.
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. We should have a pretty good turnout, so don't forget it is Saturday the 21st of August. I don't know if Ross confirmed the meeting time or anything, but he will nearer the time. Chat to him. He's got fires in the iron in terms of the planning of how it's going to translate and what it's going to look like, so it should be good fun. Obviously, nearer the time, he'll tell us what we need to bring and do and stuff like
that's
that.
It, yourself, your game face, and that's it.
Indeed.
A very, very stable wrist.
Yes, you don't need to bring bowls. Ross is going to sort all that. Unless you have your own bowls, by all means, bring them. I'm probably only Viv. I'm probably speaking to Viv here.
Is there a dress code? Is it like a golfing thing, or do you have to play full whites, or
maybe not? So I think flat shoes is probably the main requirement, and then just sensible clothing.
Okay, conservative clothing.
Probably it's open to the public, so it's not like it's closed gate necessarily. You have to wear this, but sensible floor, definitely right footwear, and then I guess nothing crazy to give the old ladies a heart attack.
Okay. All right.
I'll leave it there and tell you another story after we're off air.
All right. Giving the old ladies heart attacks recently.
But then the other league day of note is, of course, the draft as well, which is currently scheduled in for Saturday the 4th of September.
Sure is.
Will likely be after 2 p.m. At some point. Any time after that, confirming at the time, depending if we have a church football game or not.
Well, I can tell you today that I can confirm that all the church footballers, which is Naithan and I, Mike and Ollie Burdett when he's fit and ready to go. And Tom. We're
nearly at half the league in the church.
That's true, we are doing well here. That's it. We don't have a game that day because they cancelled this morning.
Oh, well, that's the benefit of having the assistant manager.
There you go, exactly that. So, yes, watch this space, but at the moment we're out of it. We're not going to be playing that day, so we have more time to prepare.
Good,
in theory, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's good. So in that case, then really the podcast can be any time on that day.
Yes,
the draft can be any time that day.
We might do a podcast in the morning. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Could you imagine doing? Actually,
did we do that once before?
I feel as though we did.
I think we did.
I think it was good crack.
Yeah.
So let's maybe think about doing that.
Yeah, if we get it in early enough. So anyway, time to be confirmed. But as you've heard live on the air, it could be any time. Just book out the day. And before we move on, actually, I should mention, but going back to the division line event and the draft event, actually, you may have heard myself and Tom.
Yep.
We did use lockdown to a degree quite well.
Oh, yes.
Where we did create an American football board game, which has been play tested a few times, but only with, I think, 3-4 players, and we had to do some tweaks thereafter. It's pretty much ready for just a proper play test. We did one tweak, which we've got to see how it turns out. But so after the divisional lining event, on Saturday the 21st, and possibly after the draft as well.
Here we are.
As well as possibly a podcast, board game test if anyone wants.
Can we do a podcast that includes the board game test?
Yeah.
Basically, just this is going to be, it might be a really bad idea, but it's going to basically just us chatting shit as we normally do, whilst playing this board game, and then you can showcase the board game for free on the podcast.
We could just call it a live show. That's what
exactly
podcasts,
that.
Like if you listen to the Guardian Football Weekly,
they
have their live shows.
Exactly that.
We're not going to make you pay to listen to that.
No, we really
you
are.
can have it for free. There you go.
That's it. But we will pay. Well, he will anyway. He'll make you pay for his game if you like it. So that's it.
When it gets that far,
quite right. There you go.
Right, so those are the two major bits of league events. Other than that, Hall of Fame. So now that we are actually talking to you about the Hall of Fame things later in the pod, I will set a deadline for that because, of course, I need to get pen and sword and everything. So we'll give it a couple of weeks. So if we say, what's the date today?
By the division line event, what'd you say?
I'd say a bit early, just to get me a bit of time to get the pennant all ready. So if we go 2 Fridays from now, so that will be Friday the 13th. That's not one you won't forget.
You won't forget that.
So midnight, to go one step further, midnight, 11:59 on Friday the 13th. I All Need Your Hall of Fame nominations in by then. It goes as per normal. You have 3 votes to use: a 3-point vote, let's call it, a 2-point vote, and a 1-point vote, which you have to spread around 3 different nominations. Yes, that's how that works. And I think we only have 7 nominations this year on which to vote on, so should be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Absolutely.
Other than that, subs, I've yet to do the subs calculation exactly, because I am quite conscious that we could probably do with a new main trophy.
We really could.
With that in mind, I'm going to set subs at, let's say, £4 this year.
Let's do it.
Which is £1 higher than the usual 3. But for that, you get the mini trophy for the winner, the Corona, a year's worth of podcasts, although that's kind of included for free.
We do it for the love.
Exactly. The small pennant, and obviously this season the brand new trophy.
And also the fun of playing the game.
That's
it. Don't tell me that it's not fun. Those that keep coming back every year for the last 12 years, that it's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be pretty sadistic to come back year after year for the pain and not enjoy the fun.
Indeed.
My seasons usually go. So yeah, £4, and rules go. We will need that £4 by draft day, or when you are on your clock specifically, because if I don't have your subs by that point, you don't get a pick, and that goes for if you're an auto pick as well.
That's it. Absolutely. And there's literally no excuse now, because 1, we are a cashless society. 2, if you don't have PayPal or something like that, then I don't know what century you're living in. And 3, as internet banking, transfer to transfer. At some point in your life, you probably would have transferred Naithan some money.
Yes.
So,
but if you haven't, I am happy to provide my details. Dave, you are new, of course, so I can do that for you.
Indeed.
But Phil, I believe, transferred his money from New Zealand last year.
Indeed.
So if he can do that, then
exactly. Good old Western Union. That's all I can say. So get on that.
What was that? Was it Alipay that was being pushed to the
yes,
Euros? Random Chinese.
You can go and do that if you want. All the foreigners. All you, Dave and Phil, get on that. That's it. That's it. All the subliminal messaging that you've had over the last month. That's it. Crack on. All right.
There you go. Speaking of which, we've had a lot of good sporting events between the last time.
We sure have.
We spoke. Yeah, Euros, Wimbledon, Olympics now.
Yeah. I think Wimbledon just got sort of like sidelined.
It did. I watched probably the least of it that I've ever watched.
Yeah, because it was just so exciting. I mean, the European Championships for us was
fantastic.
Was definitely an up and down journey. So and it's still painful. No, I said that.
I still maintain if it wasn't. Everyone's saying, they come back, England, we did it. If it wasn't for a random fluke goal, which it was from the corner, I think we hold up for a 1-0 victory there. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
No, I don't think it is either.
It's just, and it's such a shame that, sorry to bring up painful memories, everyone, it's such a shame that fluke goal ultimately basically was our downfall.
Yeah, so
I think
again
we held up. You scored in the first minute, and you hold out for. It would have been the whole game against the side that was constantly attacking, and
we had the better of the game in this. Yeah, I know. We'll be back though. Wait a minute. We're in the desert. We're in the desert next time. All right, we're in the desert. Everyone knows that British people love air conditioning. All right. Them stadiums
and we used to love our slave labour, so
that's it. We used to love our interest in the Middle East as well. But so much for that. So yeah, it's like going home.
It is like
it's like going home. So
and on that one, and on that one, I think that's probably it for the league news. So
we get off on a tangent now. It's exactly.
It's fine. It's been a while since we podcasted. What else did you expect? And hopefully my camera's behaving itself, because it does keep sticking. But
we'll find a way to fill an hour. I mean, normally we got a very regimented, tried and tested system that you all know and love.
Yeah.
But today it's a bit of a free for all, really. I mean, we've got some things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, but now we do have to talk about. I think it's going to be the bit which is a bit. I don't know. Is it political?
It's the most political part of our league.
Yeah.
Time of the year of the AGM. Which happened back in May, and usually we do a recap earlier than this, but we're only just getting to it, and that's fine. Wasn't too much. Well, there wasn't a lot of change this year, but there were some.
There was a lot said.
There was a lot said, but not a lot done. That's a great way of putting it, Chris. So yeah, of course, we started off with taking a look at the roster format, as we did go to quite a radical one, really, compared to normal standards. But I think we've actually pioneered something which could argue be a very popular format. And yeah, the whole first agenda was talking about, review of the roster format. Do we want to keep the format as it is? And also in the same conversation, I think for the last few years, this is something we've discussed now as well. PPR, specifically half point PPR. Do we want to bring it in? In terms of it was a different cool one to discuss, because there were some people kind of saying that I think the old format, or the standard format, let's call it, of the NFL site with half point PPR is a desirable option, but without, obviously within certain camps, there's people who like the Superflex, people who would prefer the old one, and then that's not necessarily a Venn diagram neatly of that with people who want PPR and people who don't. It's a bit of a mishmash. So the voting basically ended up, as you say, after quite a lot of discussion, very, very in favour of the Superflex. Just talking about that, as it is 7-1 the votes to keep that, and PPR was more split. It was 5-3 no. Yeah. Well, what did you make of it all?
Well, I was definitely the anti-PPR camp, because I think that the last 2 years have proved that the format how it is creates really exciting gameplay, and that for me is what I want. I don't want that to change in any way, because not only is it exciting for us to talk about on this, while you're playing it does keep you on the edge of your seat, and it keeps you playing. There ain't many teams in the last couple of years, I know there have been, that fall at the bottom. Largely, out of the 12, 10 of them keep going pretty much to the end. So there was no reason to change that, I don't think. Now, whether or not PPR would enhance that and make it closer, perhaps, I don't know. And maybe it would make more players relevant but at more times. But at the same time, the way that you can play players right now, by playing pretty much anyone you want, sort of nullifies that anyway. So yeah, I was... that was the basis of my argument, and basis of others' argument as well. I kind of understand why you might want PPR, because across the world of fantasy now, there is an element of that. Yeah, everywhere. It's the standard format, pretty much, right? Yeah. But that isn't necessarily the way we've always been. We've always been a little bit divergent of the norm, and I think that's good for us, and that's definitely made things more exciting over the last couple of years, and I don't want that to change, because if you try and as we've proven in some weeks, I had it one week, I know that Ollie had it against me one week. If you've got players, or you've got, particularly in that COVID year, that got struck down or were out or whatever, there was always a way back for you. There was, whilst in some years that would be really crippling. So yeah, that's the reason why the Superflex format exists, to keep you in the game, and also, ultimately when it comes down to it, that doesn't need to be enhanced. That has been proven. Yeah,
no, and I think you're 100% right, because it's coming back to me now. It was a while ago after all. It basically kind of fell on. We don't really want to add PPR to what it is now, like you say, because the way it's structured makes it beneficial if you're down on your luck or whatever. You can mix and match. So adding PPR to that kind of felt like, as you say, maybe the good, quote unquote, good teams, it gives them more of an advantage. And even though you have your flexibility, if you're not such a good team, the PPR would potentially disadvantage you in that. So the discussion kind of became really, if we're going to have PPR, we need to go back to the old system.
Yeah.
So that's probably kind of how we'll look at it next year. Hopefully, again, it's such a new, really, format that we have, and it's produced 2 very exciting, close years. Some camps in the league kind of said, well, that's not necessarily the best thing, because you want, I suppose, the fruit of your labour to bear itself, and so if you have a good draft and a good team, you want that to come through, and to come through in results, and perhaps the Superflex,
as was proven last year, right? Because the team that I think arguably had the best draft was the one that wasn't actually in the room, but did go on to win.
Yeah,
and that was through a whole squad effort, really, without much of a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what proves the theory for me.
For sure.
Is that is that there were some teams that had a rubbish draft and yet at the end came back to compete.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the beginning, some people had a great draft and were still there to compete. And that's
definitely
that's the that's the system at play.
Yeah.
Giving everybody, no matter what their start, a chance.
Absolutely, and the counterpoint to someone raised, we saw an auto-drafted team win last year.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hang on a minute, that's not uncommon. We've seen that before.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
We've seen that before with what was Alex Fugan's touchdowns from and became Jake's, the real QB. It's not alien for that to happen. It does happen, and like you say, okay, we saw it twice in the old one. Okay, we saw it last year with this one. As you say, it's not like, Ross stormed it 12-2 and whatever, 12-2 and whatever, and that he was 8-6, only just won the division, and then as you know, when it gets to playoffs, it's more about luck in the playoffs than anything else, like chance and fate and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it was completely in his favour the whole time, and like you say, other teams battled back and appeared. Ollie Gardner, for example, 9-5, his first division win. He had Ollie, who was battling back quite a bit last season as well. You look across everyone, like you say, bucking the trend, who fell away at the end, and that left it open possibly for you to just take the division and stuff. So it does enable, as you say, a more competitive landscape. So we'll get another year of tape on it, so to speak. We'll come back and no doubt talk about it next year. But maybe we'll look at PPR with the current format. I think the format we have is a good one, so 100%. We decided to keep that. And then the playoff expansion, which was just again a rubber stamping exercise for something we'd already agreed the year before.
Masterpiece the year before. It was well thought out.
And this is why there was much debate, but not much of action this year, because a lot of the things that we've already set in place effectively, and it's just having that check and balance there to make sure that we're still happy with it. So the playoffs is now expanded to 5 teams for the first time in LSU history, more than 4 teams making the playoffs.
Exciting.
With the NFL's extension of the regular season to 17 games and 18 weeks, we elected to not extend our regular season and instead extend our playoff stretch. So still have the 14 regular season weeks as normal. Everything is the same there, schedule-wise and everything. The only difference now, we have 5 playoff teams, 2 wildcards, so everything else is the same as before, up to the 4th and including the 4th seed, 3 division winners, obviously 1 regular season winner, and then the first wildcard based on record, and thereafter points forward with a tied record.
I love that, by the way.
And then the 5th one is completely brand new. The team most points forward regardless.
That's it. Now, that is it. That for me is the most exciting one. Because we've seen over the years there are so many teams that absolutely tear the barn door down all year and they miss the playoffs, and we go, why? That's the most explosive team in the league, but they get shitloads of points against them, and miss the playoffs, and there's a lot of times where we think what could have been. There's often with Dave's teams, by the way. That's it. That seems to be the case.
So 1463 points last year, which was the league high, I believe.
Exactly.
My Hall of Fame nomination this year, if you've read the article, and it was the same as last year's, I had the highest scoring team that year and went 6-8 and didn't make the playoffs. So it does happen.
And he got absolutely pumped with points. He had 1457 against, which is crazy. So a team like that, which deserved to be a playoff team. Let's be honest. Should have been there, will be next year, and I think that's justice served, because we'll see how many times if that happens, where you have somebody who gets pumped with points a year. If they can come through that and win, I think that's it's a seriously big achievement.
Definitely. And it's not an easy road, because the counter argument to this is, okay, well, you're letting yet another team into the playoffs, and in this case it might be a team that doesn't even have a winning record. But the distinction being, and I kind of like this with the normal wild card as well, is effectively if you win your division now, you have a bye, because this wild card bowl, let's call it, takes place in week 15.
That's exciting as well.
Exactly, it's exciting stuff. So it's 2 wild card teams ducking it out for the right to face. It's not an easy road. The number 1 seed still. So even if you get through the playoffs on the highest points, you've got to win get in the wildcard bowl. You've got to win against the league's number 1 seeded team, and then you've got to, if you get that far, you've got to win the final.
I love that, because week 18 is what will effectively be week 18 this year.
Well, week 17.
Week 17, yes, of course,
off, so
and then
so
17 and 18 this year is going to be wild. Because these extra games that we're going to be able to talk about and we're going to to participate in. Bearing in mind that it's a one-off cup final, effectively for those two teams.
Yeah, it's when I go home.
Exactly that.
Week 15 on.
Yeah, so it really is a big one. And say nobody wants to play that team. Especially
the high scoring team.
Nobody wants to play that.
The number one seed, we hope they get knocked out.
Like
I said, the other wildcard team will be wishing.
Because usually when you get to that point, you think, wow, I'm glad they didn't make it, but that's not going to happen this time. I'm really intrigued to see who that may be. Because that's a lovely little rule change.
It is. It's a good one.
It's one of those universally liked ones. I don't think anybody. Yes, obviously somebody voted no. I don't know.
The vote was 7-1 to keep that. I don't know what the no was, and there was some debate about how to implement the extra team, and even if we should at all, obviously it's not quite half the league, but it's approaching that. But I think it's a happy balance, and I think we're all experienced enough. And as you say, Chris, it's not like you're just handing a team that went 7-7 and would effectively just be the second one. You're recognising that. Like we said in the AGM, we all like to think we're really good at this game. It's all about skill, but ultimately, if you get pumped with points, there's nothing you can do about it. All the decisions you make that are good, perhaps your coach scores are lowest in the league, and that's how you've got the highest points.
Yep.
All means nothing just because you don't have the win number. So there is some recognition, and
it's going to keep teams going as well. That's the thing.
Exactly.
There are some people who are going to chase those points later on in the season, and it just prevents people from stopping. Especially if it's close.
Yeah.
It's such a psychological change for a lot of teams going into the last couple of weeks of the season thinking I can get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Through getting the most amount of points. Do clear up for me one thing though. So let's say that there's the four winners of the 3 winners of the division.
Yep.
Are the and the fourth place team.
Yep.
Are the highest scorers? Would it be the next highest scorer?
Yeah. So it would be out of the already seeded playoffs. So seeding from 1 to 4 happens as normal, division winners, and then best record, and if that's tied, best record, and then highest points among those teams. So then the 5th highest scoring team is you're right, it might not necessarily be the highest scoring team,
but it would be the next,
because if they're already seeded, it would be among the non-seeded teams.
But that for me makes it more exciting, because there is always a gaggle of midfield teams that have about the same kind of points. So we saw this with Pat and Viv last year, who were kind of like the same all year. And then all it's going to be is 10 or 15 points here or there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem, because the notion is, like you say, it's for the teams that do really well all season long. If they just happen to get pumped with points and miss because they don't have the wins, it's a route for them in.
Yep.
You look at it the other way around. Well, okay, if those teams all make it in the playoffs normally, then it's just going to be probably just the middling team that does get it. But that's fine, because then in theory, unless they're really they have a really good last 3 weeks of the season, they should just get eliminated anyway. So it kind of should check itself, and if you do pull it off, fair play.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to win 3 games together, so it's not like you're being handed it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's superb. No, I love that one.
Yeah. Our next one, we love making kicker changes in this league for some reason. So we did elect last season to increase the 40 to 49 yard field goal to 4 points. So it was discussed to remove that and reduce the 50 yard to 4 points instead of the 5 points, because it was obviously a jump from 3 to 5. What we did was we actually voted to keep the 4 points for 40 to 49 by a margin of 6 to 2. So the 4 points stayed. On top of that, we kept the 50 yard field goal at 5 points, which is logical when you keep that. That was voted 7 to 1. But we did add some sort of points for kickers, but it wasn't positive points. We added a -1 point for any missed field goal under 40 yards or a missed PAT, and the results of that were what's that? I don't know what the results were.
Option 2 just.
Was it option 2?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so option 2 was capped negative points. Yeah, sorry, I see that. And then, option 1, no negative points, only had 1 vote. Option 2 had 4 votes, which was capped negative points, and 3 uncapped negatives. So basically, it was just negative points for missed field goals up to 40 yards and PATs. What do you think about that?
Yes, we love kickers. Kickers are a thing that keeps us going in this league, I think.
Some leagues are like, just get rid of the kicker position, and I think
No.
It's nice to have the wildcard element. We saw
love
last year
that.
with Young Wei Koo, it could actually be a strength.
Yep.
They're not just there to boot PATs and
They really are.
get the odd point. They are a critical part of the game.
They are. That's it. Exactly that. If you don't value your kicker, you're doing something wrong. You have to look through how much a decent kicker can get you per year.
No, the thing with it is it's obviously a bit more like the quarterback, but not quite. It's probably more like quarterback on steroids, where the difference between the number one scoring quarterback and the 12th is not a great deal. Certainly, if you look at quarterback 2 or 3, perhaps, and then 12th, the disparity isn't that wide. That's why they're devalued as a position, because it's deeper rather than top heavy.
Yeah.
Kickers are very much the same thing, especially where you can chop and change each week.
Yeah.
There is definitely good matchups for kickers and bad.
Definitely,
whether it be in dome, whatever the weather is. Some teams just might kick more. Some defenses might hold up more in the red zone and then seed more. So there is strategy to it as well. But like you say, having that top kicker can be such an advantage.
Exactly that. There are years where I had House of Bucker one year when he had his unbelievable season. Obviously, last year whoever had a Young Wei Koo, great by the way. He did that. But you're right, and you combine that with your DST score. That's really what I do every week. I don't think about it.
It's special teams.
I don't think about it as one or the other. It's that they're a combined team. If you think about that everywhere, that is a hell of a chunk of points that you could get. So that could be.
For sure.
I mean, if you have a particularly good kicker score, let's say you had a kicker score of 12 and you had a DST score of 15. Well, that's. Especially if you're thinking about, as we always say, if you think about trying to get to 100 every week, so that is over a quarter of your points there, and in two positions that people just throw away. And don't think about, and you can't be carefree about it, because especially with DST, you can't really be like that, because between
it's all about matchup.
Between the top and the bottom DST per week is a significant difference as opposed to the king. So if you combine the two and you can get somebody who's pretty pretty consistent every week, then you're on for a winner. But I would hate to get rid of the position, as you say. That's it. The times that we've seen people winning and losing, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm going to bring up Mike Taylor last year. That's it. The team winning and losing. That's it. Curse the kickers. I like that. I like the fact that there can be negative points, because actually at the moment,
it adds some flavour to it. Right?
It does.
So I think the argument for normal leagues against it's 3 points, 5 points if they happen to bang some 50s, and then no penalty if they miss. Which for other positions really doesn't exist, because if your defense gives up points, you lose points. If your quarterback throws a pick, he loses points. If your receiver or running back fumbles, he loses points. Why shouldn't the same be true of kickers? Is a good argument.
All kickers should be able to. I mean, if you're a professional kicker, you should be able to hit a PAT unless it's like snowing or it's blowing a 100-mile-an-hour wind.
And now, like you said, there is also the element of, I've got to get a good kicker. Yeah. Because it's no good if I've got a kicker that can kick field goals but also misses a lot now. I need the guy that's the Justin Tucker that's actually going to nail pretty much every field goal he kicks. Exactly. So it does become, we may see it become more like closer to the QB, where there is a bit more tiering in it, as opposed to all basically being.
Interesting to see what kicker come off the board in the draft this year as well.
Yeah, definitely, because we usually get some early ones, which is definitely not how it should be done. But now it's a bit more justified, you could say.
If people are taking him in how many rounds we have these days, 13 rounds, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got still 13 rounds.
Yeah, so if people take him in round 12, I don't really care. If people take him before that, then you just have a long, hard look at yourself.
Yeah, indeed. No vote on the reserve position. We've taken that off the table for AGMs for some considerable time.
Please do.
We have the one spot. Committee will chat and see if we need to do what we did last year, where we basically made it unlimited because of COVID. But I think this time round, as I posted in the chat the other day, hilariously, which players get vaccinated may be something you need to consider in your fantasy strategy, depending how you want to approach it. But at this point, I would say we're probably not thinking. But should it look like we do need to, we will probably implement some extra spots.
I think probably for now, I think that the one reserve spot and the one COVID spot may well just exist this year.
Yeah, I think so.
But the years or the last year's unlimited COVID spots.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to need that this year.
No, I think the most we maybe saw of that was 2 or 3 players, and obviously usually a trip to the COVID list essentially is only going to be a week or two at most, so it's not really that different to a normal injury, which wouldn't go on reserve anyway. It was new then, we didn't really know what things would happen. Now we know the league has stipulated obviously everything that would happen in the case of XYZ, so shouldn't need that. Speaking of the committee, same committee as last year again, myself, Commissioner of course, Tom, Walker, and you as the Ombudsman again, Chris.
Aye. So
that was everything for the AGM this year, just reviewing basically some of those things again for next year. So now we can talk about the Hall of Fame. So if we pivot over to here, so we'll start with Viv's nominations. So I think I posted them in the chat a while ago, so you may have read them through. Obviously some of these we did a full-on podcast on last year, so you can go back and listen to those again if you want to. I think there were 3 renoms, although mine I slightly tweaked from my last year nomination. So first up we have Viv's of the Dream the Dream Team's nomination of RG3. He continues to plug at it. I can't remember how it did in the voting last year, but he did select Robert Griffin III in the ninth round, number 83 overall in 2012. He of course went on to be Rookie of the Year that season. Or
he was,
him and Andrew Luck were very good, but I think he just tipped him. Obviously had the catastrophic knee injury at the end of the year, so his career sadly didn't pan out. But yeah, I mean he was very useful for the Dream Team in that season. He combined him with Colin Kaepernick, which was a good duo, but RG3 definitely got more nods than that guy in the end. What do you make of Viv's nomination?
He's definitely trying to push it, which tells me that he hasn't really had a lot to shout about since 2012.
He had an 8-3 record for the Dream Team that year, scoring 358 points. If you need some data.
Hoorah! I think that this one there is a really nice phrase for it, and that is flogging a dead horse. So he's flogging a dead horse here. That's it. If it's you can't keep trying. So it's like David Beckham with a knighthood. You just can't keep coming back and saying, "Let's give it a go." That's it. Because there's just no will for it. So good luck with that one. But that's it. It might be like UK Eurovision, nil point.
Yeah, possibly. That was definitely a 0 point last year. I can't remember which one it was. But certainly in the Dream Team Ring of Honor, as a lot of
certainly, which is it's a nice ring to be in.
Yeah. So we have a Tuckford from Beyond. A nomination from Beyond the Grave from the Tuckfords. The Fantastic Five, which. I'm amazed it took him this long to nominate, quite frankly. Don't really know what was going on there. But for the Tuckfords, 5 consecutive playoff appearances in the first 6 seasons of the league. So he missed the first year in 2009, but made it every year thereafter from 2010 until 2014. Just to summarise the article, we know what happened in that period. Knocked out in the divisional or in the first round of the playoffs 3 times, twice lost in the Corona Bowl, one of those times being against the team he'd never lost to in Ollie, the other time being against a coach that was in charge of an auto-drafted team for half the season. So he did have his opportunities, but still very much 5 years in a row. I don't think it's been matched since. I think the closest player that came to it was Naithan, who's obviously retired. I think he got 4. May not be something we ever see again.
Difficult.
Sure is. Across that span, I think I've noted down at the bottom here. So he had 2 Corona Bowl runner-ups, 1 regular season title, 3 division titles, and a Coach of the Year award. And over that span, he may have been the winningest coach. At the end of that point, we don't.
Man, I think we should just start calling Phil he's up there with the chokers, isn't he? Now the Hall of Fame chokers in real life are like Mark Levy and Mike Schottenheimer. No, would you agree?
Well, yeah, Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Dan Marino's he did choke, but he never won.
So. I would say that Phil's more. This is going to be the quote of the day. Phil is much. He's more potent than Dan Marino is about getting the playoffs. That is for sure. So there you go. Yeah. He's not as much of a. His teams have been better than that. But I think if you're going to be a coach, man, he's got to be one of the winningest coaches in the league without a win of some description.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a shame Peyton Manning won those 2 Super Bowls, which was completely undeserved.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he was it would have been a very good parallel, and probably still is the best parallel, where dominating the regular season is what Phil did across that period of time, just as Peyton Manning did. But as soon as he got to when the games mattered, Peyton got bailed out by his teammates. Phil's players not bailed him out.
No, indeed.
In those cases,
indeed, it's exactly that way. So he didn't concede a safety in the first game that he played, or the second Super Bowl. Anyway.
Oh yeah, good times.
Now, can we just talk about this for a minute? For those that haven't heard this story before, this is quite the. If only Naithan put money on it, it would be just the better story.
Yeah.
It's the year that the Broncos were in the Super Bowl.
I think it was 2013.
I think it was 2013. Yeah,
Super Bowl 48.
Yeah, playing the Seahawks now.
Yep.
And
in New York, in the snow.
It's it. And Nath goes literally in the first 2 seconds of the game as it kicks off.
Yeah, as the ball was kicked off.
That's it. Yeah, first score is going to be a safety. What happens?
Let's just get this straight. So it was a touchback, the kick. So they were on like what would have been the 20-yard line.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. And
I was like, no, it's going to be a safety. What does the snapper do? Over Peyton's head into the end zone. Peyton dives and it gets tagged down.
Yeah. Ridiculous. If only he'd put money on it. Anyway,
if only I picked fantasy players as well as I predict.
I know. That's it. If only
Super Bowl 48.
If only. So, anyways, yes. So if we're picking it, it's it. Phil's obviously going to be the coach / GM. Peyton's his QB. If only that was the case that year, because otherwise he might have won. I take the piss, but actually this is a really good nomination. And as I say, this is something that we haven't seen before or since, and
something truly special.
I totally agree, and it really, really, really would have been great if he'd have won one of them, because that would have been seriously locked in.
And I think, obviously as the committee now, we have the option to elect a career to the Hall of Fame, which we'll probably only do when people retire or when we're very far into or further into the league. I think like you say, had he won one of those ones, he'd probably be in there already now. Phil is still technically in the league. He is executive operations at Gridiron Gang. Let's not forget.
Let's not forget.
Let's not forget.
It sounds like a job for the boys, that doesn't it?
But he has retired from coaching for the time being. So, like you say, I think
can we just for transparency's sake, what is he actually doing for your team?
View him as a consultant.
Because that's vague.
Well, you want to bring a guy on, you want to see how they do in the first year. Then when you get a little more confidence, you see what they're about. Then you maybe promote them to OC or something like that.
I see. Okay.
Right now he's like a head coach assistant.
I see.
You know what I mean?
It's like a way back in. It's
yeah.
For all these guys have been out of the league a little while. Somebody gets fired.
Tom Coughlin. He ain't
exactly.
I'm gonna go with the EVP of Jags. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what.
All right. That's what we're doing here. All right. I get it.
Yeah. So that's that. So yeah, no, I agree. Definitely up there with probably with the favourite. If I was to be a bookmaker for the Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
Next one. Tom did do something slightly different. He wanted to make a point of this because so far with the inductees into the Hall of Fame, other than my dad's, which was actually ended up as a committee induction anyway. So for all of the organic, I guess you could say inductions, and maybe I could bring up the list of them. I know they've got them hidden here somewhere. They all talk about periods of time or something like a stretch of, a season or something like that. Now, I did mention when we launched the Hall of Fame that it can pretty much be anything. It could be a game. It could be, as we've seen with Viv, a player's career, whatever, a player in a certain game. So we've got the inductees here, apart from 2020s, which was Ben. But again, that was GM basically for a 7-year span. Nigel's was for the 3 consecutive Corona Bowls. Mine was for my Corona Bowl winning stretch in the 2010 season from week 9 to 16. My dad's was the first season of the league, the 15-1 season, and obviously Tom's was even a smaller stretch, but the 2 games where he topped 200 points and then 198 the week after. Tom's nomination this year is for a singular play.
Oh, bold.
Singular play, and that was Victor Cruz's 99-yard touchdown in Corona Bowl 3 to basically ice the game and bring the first Corona Bowl to Tom's Tyrants. And obviously in that season, I think, hopefully I wrote it in the article, I think he was a free agent and Tom snapped him up earlier on in the season. I'm pretty sure he did. Obviously, he went on to have that great year. He was the first team basically that won it from the rookie division and everything. And even though Cruz's play, which is effectively a 16-point play, wasn't the point difference in that game, it was still at a fairly critical juncture of the game, and it gave them the cushion that they needed to win. So. What do you make of the play as a whole?
Well, I mean, any 99-yard touchdown deserves to be on a few highlight reels, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Especially if let's say it this way: if you had a 99-yard touchdown in the Super Bowl, would it be in the Hall of Fame? The answer is yes. By the way, so
what if the player that did it was on the losing team? In this case, on one. So
I don't think it would. I really don't think. I don't think the player would make it in there, but it would be on. It'd be on. Like,
I was in there. If a play could go to the Hall of Fame.
If a play could go to the Hall of Fame in real life, then
you're right. That is the 99 touchdown effectively in the Super Bowl. This is the equivalent.
Exactly that. Yeah. That's it. So yes, the answer is definitely doable. And was it first? Yes. So that's a big plus. That's it. The play is irrelevant because it could be anybody, but the fact that it happened in the time that it did against difficult opposition, as we've just seen,
Yep, I was the current champ this time.
Hall of Fame opposition. Let's take. All right. So that's definitely one for the books. Do I think, however, that one play in one game is more important than a stretch of success over a long period of time? I talked about this in a lot of the podcast last year. I kept banging the point, and I'm sure people got bored of it eventually. I'm going to do it again. That's it. The answer is no. As exciting as it is, as exciting as a 99-yard touchdown is in a game that was played now quite a long time ago, I don't think that I would necessarily vote that over somebody's sustained period of success, which is a very, very difficult thing to do.
And I think
over a 5-year span.
I don't think that's necessarily an unpopular opinion, because while you recognise it's a great achievement, you see the same thing in players for the Hall of Fame, because you have a guy like Barry Sanders, who retired early but did rightfully make it to the Hall because he played long enough. But then you have a guy like Sterling Sharp, who I don't believe is in the Hall of Fame.
No.
He played at a very, very high level, but a career cut short by injury, and you would argue that had he obviously played the length of his career, he probably would be in the Hall of Fame, but because it was cut short, he didn't. There was that. Was it Terrell Davis for the Broncos as well?
Oh, right,
did he make it into the Hall of Fame? Let's have a quick
Let's find out. If he did, that's interesting.
Because he again was a player that had a fairly short career due to injury. Yeah, he is in the Hall of Fame. So again, but it's the exception rather than the norm. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
And you can. It's the inverse. It doesn't work the inverse way around, because if you have a very long career, that's not necessarily the very, very best, but a long career of sustained goodness, let's say, you probably will make it in. Like Frank Gore, for example, is a terrific.
Luke Kuechly will make it in the Hall of Fame for sure, despite the fact he never won anything.
Yeah, and again, another guy that had a relatively short span. So you're right. These guys on the other end of it, where they had a short span, in this case a singular play, just because it doesn't have the length that. The length adds to it, because you've got the long sustained period of greatness as opposed to basically a burning flame.
Frank Gore, by the way, is interesting, because he should be in the Hall of Fame despite the fact he's not.
Because he was very good in his prime, and he's continued to be very good.
Yeah, that's it. And statistics will say that he is in the. I think now he's down the top 5 of all-time rushing yards, which is fine, but he is now a very old man.
That's right. He's 37, I think. Maybe a better example then is. Kurt Warner, who was a very contentious one for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right.
Because he obviously won the Super Bowl with the Rams as in a fluke season.
He didn't start for him that year.
Yeah, he was bagging groceries at the start or whatever, at one point. And then completely flamed out really after that. Was back up at the Giants, went to Arizona as a backup, eventually found his way starting and then made it to another Super Bowl. But again, probably to this day, there's people debating should he be in the Hall of Fame.
I can understand why.
Yeah, it's.
But then again, there's also that thing: is that if you've won a Super Bowl, are you already in the conversation for being in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. That's not right though.
No. So like Eli, for example.
It's a great example. Will probably get in because of
Yeah.
those two, but you wouldn't necessarily say, was he ever the best quarterback in the game?
No.
Was he ever even top 5?
Will Philip Rivers get in the Hall of Fame?
Again, he's one of those borderline guys, isn't he? If he has that level of play at another position, you'd probably say yeah. But by the fact that he's a quarterback,
Yeah.
and he wasn't, like we've already said, Dan Marino level, who was one of the best to play the game,
100%,
and didn't need it to get in. But yeah.
If Philip Rivers didn't have a personality, would he be in the Hall of Fame? Because there you go. So this is hypotheticals for you of a night. The answer, I think is no. By the way.
Well, I think a great alternative player you could look at right now, who you would say is probably on a similar trajectory to Philip Rivers, would be Matthew Stafford.
Right? Yeah.
Would you say he should be in the Hall of Fame? I wouldn't say he should.
No, not at all. I mean, how many losing seasons did the Lions have under him?
Quite a few.
That's it.
Not down to him.
No, exactly that. So he's obviously better than that.
But even the Chargers had the same thing. You know, had some losing season. They obviously had some gut-wrenching losses in playoffs.
Did I see Calvin Johnson go in the Hall of Fame despite the fact that he only had like a 6-year career?
He must be. He must be in the Hall.
Because he's got to be there. But again,
I think he's in this year's induction.
Case in point, no.
Yeah, so you can't. But you have to be the very, very peak. And it's some stretch as opposed to what we're talking about is one player. Yeah, so inducted in this year's class.
See, that seems crazy to me. But I think that he was amazing in his peak. But like, what did he really do in his career? Like, apart from,
Yeah,
right.
Great player, but yeah.
100%. That's it. We've seen a few of them. But yeah. Anyway, we've diverged from the point. But
that's fine.
But that's what we're about.
This is what the Hall of Fame is about.
This is what we're about.
Exactly. So the next one we have is another renom. It's Ollie's. He nominated the one that mattered, so it was his Corona Bowl 5 victory against the Tuckfards. First time Ollie beat the Tuckfards in the LOC, and obviously in the most critical of junctures in Corona Bowl 5 when he had to do it. So the nomination is for that. It wasn't just a close game as well, and really for the whole season it was quite a Cinderella story. Obviously Ollie had Peyton Manning in his year where he broke the touchdown record again. He also had Julius Thomas and a host of great players in there. Great buddy, but this nomination is just for that one game. But it was a great game. He did curb stomp Phil effectively. Again, as we already talked about, Phil's nomination, they're two cross paths in this year's LOC Hall of Fame nominations. I'll bring up the game, but by memory, I think it was something like 160 to 113. Obviously, in a scenario where psychologically you've never beaten the guy, it's tough, right? And he manages to do it. Yeah, my memory didn't fail me, luckily. So 162 to 98 was the final score. So Eddie Lacy, obviously, before he got fat. Sean McCoy
really
in his
fat.
prime. Des Bryant in his prime. Riley Cooper, I won't say anything about him. Josh Gordon in his amazing season, which he's basically lived over ever since. I'm pretty sure he had some other good Fred Jackson, T.Y. Hilton, and everything. So, and Phil was not an easy opposition at that point as well. Jamal Charles, DeMarco Murray, Drew Brees, all in their prime. Obviously, the supporting cast then.
And then, can we just talk about the supporting cast because no one can really see this? We're going to talk Brian Hartline. Supporting cast. It's the epitome of supporting cast. Torrey Smith, Marcus Colston, Martellus Bennett. Woohoo! On the bench wasn't much better. I always say that, and there was a few duds in there. Jamal Blackman's on there. That's it. He's still in the game, isn't he?
Justin Blackman. He's
Blackman,
the longest tenured players on the Jags roster.
That's it. Still on there. No Sean Moreno got 10 points on the bench, so that's good. And everyone's favourite pundit, Nate Burleson, was on the bench as well. So there you are. Anyways, you can see why Phil lost this game. I don't think that he needs to be at his peak to beat him, but that's it. For him, it matters, right? For us, it's another Corona Bowl win, but for him, it's kind of beating a guy who scored 160 points in the final.
There's the famous clip, if you've ever watched the Niners America's game, where Steve Young won his first, where he tells the players, get the monkey off my back on the sideline. Have you seen this?
Yes, no.
I'll have to send you the clip after. It's quite funny because obviously he's playing in the shadow of Joe Montana.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Four, whatever the number was, four Super Bowls with the Niners. So taking over from that, not an easy gig. He finally won it, got the monkey off his back. This is very much Ollie's get the monkey off my back.
Yeah, it's right, exactly that. I think this is one that you could say this. if it went either way, I think it would probably be in this conversation. But obviously, we did a whole episode on it last year. If you want to see what we said,
You can go back and listen to this one.
have
And
a
Vivs, the other two, obviously, we don't. But you can talk to the respective coach about it if you want. I'm sure they'll be happy to answer.
I'm sure. Maybe not Phil.
Well, yeah, it depends on what the question is. Like,
So, what made you play Brian Hartland in the final? I want to know.
outstanding. And then the final written nomination we have here, but it is not the final one. I'll reveal the other, and then Chris will reveal his nomination.
I will.
But my one is a renomination of last year's as well, but slightly tweaked. So last year it was the nomination was effectively for eight weeks straight of I think it was 100 points or more, or 90 points or more, something like that. But that is included in this nomination. But that's just a part of the team of no-name heroes that did go on to be a high-scoring team that year, which had the stretch of 8 straight weeks of 90 points. We saw it didn't end in the playoff results.
I remember this year for you.
Yeah. And so looking at the draft, there were some good players. So we had David Johnson, Mike Wallace, Derek Carr, cousin Marvin Jones. Obviously, there were some misses, as is always the case for Gridiron Gang, including Matt Jones, if anyone remembers him.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, he wasn't a high pick though. But then the real crux of it, and you pointed out to me, the nomination would be so much better if you made the high-scoring team involved Derek Carr, Dontrell Illman, Malcolm Mitchell, CJ Fedorowicz, Ryan Griffin, Kirk Cousins, Capri Bibbs, Anton Smith, Christine Michael, late period Dennis Pitter, Randall Cobb, Jeremy Macklin, Doug Martin, and Eric Decker.
Oh, look at that.
That was the highest scoring team of 2016, I believe.
Wow.
For you right there.
I have to say, I would want to. What I want to see is, because there was a couple of these last year. There was a couple of no-name heroes last year, right? And I think I had one, and Ollie had one, and now you had one, right? I want to see. I want to see who the highest scoring no-name team is. I want to see it. Who scored more of the no-name heroes, right? Okay. Because we're going to do this. This is 2016. Yeah.
Yep.
No-name heroes.
Yep.
Right, versus 2020 no-name heroes, COVID edition.
Which was your team? So 1351.
That's it.
That's what you got.
That's it. No. Only in that week. Only in that very, very, very particular week.
Oh, you want to see the very particular week?
Yeah, exactly that. The very particular week, because we're gonna go through these names, right? Okay. And we're gonna see who's more laughable. First of all, right? Decide who's more laughable, who scored more points, and then decide. Okay. Right. Because I'm going to put a little amendment to this. If the 2016 no-name heroes go in the Hall of Fame, all of them go in. Because they're all as ridiculous as each other.
Maybe we can make that a committee induction instead of just basically doing what the Republicans do and staple something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to do.
To some other bill and get it through. Do you remember what week it was that you want to look at in particular?
I think it was week 4. I was against Mike because I beat him and I thought it was hilarious. It was 100 points. Right, here we go. So this was the ridiculous, quite ridiculous. So we had Lamar, who is a name. Okay.
Was it this week? I don't think it was. It can't have been because you didn't have. Oh no, because you might have exercised the rule where you could drop people.
Exactly that. Yeah, I exercised and picked him up again. So we had.
I mean, Hunter Renfrow and Tyler Higbee is pretty hilarious.
That's it. Jerry Jeudy, TJ Hawkinson, suck up, and the Jets D.
Yeah.
The worst team in the league. That's it. So we're going to do that one. 100 points they got somehow.
Oh yeah, and then these bench players like Travis Homer and Greg Ward, which were added as an option.
Just as an option. Terry McLaurin on the bench. Don't know why I didn't play him instead of Higbee on the day. But anyway, so
it didn't matter. It
didn't matter. So yeah, Chark, Renfrow, Higbee, Jerry Jeudy, Hawkinson, suck up on the Jets D, and Lamar Jackson, 100 points. And then Ollie in the playoffs against me again, which was a complete joke. That's it. 127 points. Jalen Hurts, Tony Pollard. That's it. We got Robinson, Cooks, Calvin Ridley, Gus Edwards, Butker, and the Patriots D. Maybe not as much now. Jalen Hurts scored 42 points.
No, I mean, what did he put? You had Eric Ebron on the bench who didn't play.
They're not as ridiculous as yours. That one isn't as ridiculous. No. I don't think even my one is as ridiculous as yours. So I think that passes the test.
Okay, that's good. Okay, good.
Right. That's what I wanted to prove, that there were teams out there that just got. I bet there's probably more. If you've had a team, by the way, if you're watching this, you think I've had a team that's got more ridiculous names than this, then please write in, because we can add it to the
criteria.
That's it, absolutely. And I want to read it out on air as well, because this is worth a laugh. But that is a god awful team. I don't know how that
Oscar in 2016. There you go. Would have made the playoffs under the current rules.
What on earth? I want to know. I want to know how. But that's quality. So yeah, I like that.
Good. Okay, so we've got, even though we have few nominations this year, the ones we have are good. I will read you one of them. This coach wanted to write the article himself. I will check in and see what the progress of that is, because obviously it hasn't come to
I did wonder if it was like anonymous. Like it's, I thought this is the mystery caller.
So it's a nomination from Pakistan. So Coach Al.
Okay.
And the nomination is, I've named it. I can't remember if he named it. Enough said.
Enough said.
5-3 record against the Tuckfields all time.
Oh my word! That's it. Just go home. That's it. As a good friend of mine says, get in the bin. Get in the bin. All right, that's it. I'm having that. That's it.
Now, the context around this, it's obviously Phil had retired at this period. Well, he's still retired from head coaching, and as we know, there is a bitter rivalry that runs between the two.
100%.
So the thinking from Pakistan, and I'm sure this will be conveyed in his Hall of Fame article, is that the final dagger in Phil's back. Pakistan will always have the better record head-to-head with head coaches, and I believe he took at least the final 1 or 2 games against him. I will see if I can fact check that. So again, possibly one more for the Ring of Honor as opposed to the Hall of Fame by judging on.
Get in the skip, Pat. I was like, that's ridiculous. That's it. We can, if that's the case, if that's all it takes, then all of us can go in the Hall of Fame. There's loads of people who go in the Hall of Fame if they beat their rivals. It's it more. So I'm not, as long-term viewers of the pod will notice it, my math skills are not fantastic. But can we just, as a ratio, somebody who's out there, what on earth is 5-3 as a ratio? And if you have a better win percentage than that, then you can go in the Hall of Fame with Pat.
But this is just specifically that the ratio is like 66%, 67%.
Right. Okay, 67% win ratio, right? That's great. So there's got to be, so let's say of the ones we go through every year, the people who have rivals, and I say rivals. So if Nath has a better than 67% win ratio against his dad, or against Tom,
I don't, by the way.
That's it. Then he goes in the Hall of Fame. If I have a better win ratio against
if
Ben,
Pats gets in,
exactly. If Pats gets in, then Ben and Mike, then I get in. Congratulations. Conversely for Ben as well, right? That's it. That's the same. That's it. Conversely for both of them, to be quite honest. That's it. If Ollie's got one against you, Phil, then he goes in, and we could go on all day about that. So there you go. That's the litmus test. If you want to let that in, people, then you're opening the floodgates to everybody getting a Hall of Fame nomination next year.
That's true. Just to bolster the nomination, not that it's going to push it up anymore, Pat did get 2 of those 5 wins in 2020.
So what? That's it. He's going to say Phil was garbage that last year. He didn't try for 9 months.
In both games, Phil only scored 73 points. Let's not combine that as in each game, which makes it funnier, to be honest. 73 in each game exactly.
Well, Pat pumped him for 152 points in one game.
The next one was 85.
That's it.
So
that doesn't count. So obviously, that's it. Yeah.
So that's Pat's nomination.
Congratulations, Pat. That's it. Yeah, that's valid.
Yep. And the one more is
one more for me is
I'm gonna write this down because I don't even have it.
That's firmly not in the skip. Now that's it. I have a team. I've had a team for many years. That's it. However, there's not really a lot to write about. The first half of the history of my team, except for one's outstanding season in 2011, was pretty shit. Not gonna lie. The last few years have been surprising, to say the least. They've been much better.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. And I'm thrilled with that. All right. Yeah, that's it. We've had a Power Tour winning record for since 2017,
yep.
and it's been more enjoyable. But you know what's been more enjoyable than that?
Do tell.
Being here, and this is it, right? This is it. This is no word of a lie. Often, especially last year, doing the podcast was the highlight of my week.
I'm glad to have.
And I hope that for some of you anyway, it was a highlight of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this a long time now. We've both been doing this a long time now.
Got to be since 2013, 2012.
At least 2012, 13. I don't know how many episodes that we've put together of this, but we've put together a lot.
Many, yeah.
And it's a body of work that I'm quite proud of. And so my nomination this year is this podcast, the LOC Report.
Okay.
Because I feel as though I can nominate it by being...
I mean, my dad nominated costume design for the...
This is true.
Yeah, so
exactly that.
The LOC Report.
So I've been thinking about it quite a lot, and I thought, you know what, if NFL Films is in the Hall of Fame, because it is...
Is it really? I didn't know. I know they induct people, cameramen and things like editors. And
both Ed and Steve Sable in the Hall of Fame.
That's a good point.
So we can. I'm not going to nominate ourselves for that. But I'm going to nominate the body of this podcast.
It's not like it's predominantly been us, but it's of course been pretty much everyone else in the league.
Everyone else has been. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That. I think pretty much everybody's been on.
Yeah, apart from Dave, who's only just joined, of course. But absolutely. I think everyone else in the league. Maybe has my dad ever sat on an episode?
That's it. He's got to have been involved at some point.
I would think so.
That's it. I mean, he did let us use his house for a long time, so that kind of counts.
It's true.
So
I'm pretty sure he's sat on.
I'm sure he has at some point. I'm sure we've asked him something at some point. So that is it. And yeah, the reason behind it is that, you know, we've managed to have entertainment on this. We've talked about all sorts of stuff over the years. It makes the league come alive. You know, I'd like to say that I think in the last few years it's definitely been one of the things that people listen to, and then I do get comments about it saying, you said this, and I go, I'm glad about actually listening.
We're not just talking to a screen.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. But you say you slagged off my team. Excellent stuff, because I know you're listening. And as a result, you care about what's said on here. That brings me great joy.
Good.
So yes, LOC Report is going for nomination to the Hall of Fame. It's a strong candidate, because I think that at one point, all of you have watched it or listened to it or something.
Yeah, and I obviously get to see the how the nominations shake out, so I'll know exactly who is rating the podcast and who isn't, effectively. Just to answer your question, I was going to see if there was a quick way I could see how many shows we have done. It doesn't appear there is, but no. So that's the total number. But I don't get. Annoyingly, the filter doesn't. I'll show what I mean. The filter doesn't remove the total number down to whatever it is. See what I mean? It says all.
There's at least 358 things that we published on the YouTube
between
channel.
articles and everything. But I would say, I mean, each week we were either doing a podcast or the power rankings. There was never. I don't think there was ever really multiple. And even then, we had preseason podcasts where there were no articles. So I think conservatively, you could say there would have been at least half of that, which would have been about 170. What's that? 179 episodes would be half that figure.
Yeah.
So I think there's been at least 179 podcasts.
That's it. At least since
which would check out, because we would have done effectively 16 in the season we never really did.
I think we tried it at the end of 2012 and started doing it full time in 2013 every week properly, and we spend doing this probably it's at least an hour or even more.
Yeah, there's the setup time, obviously travel time.
Naithan's a lot more as well, putting it all together, editing it. So it's not an insignificant amount of time to do it, but it is fun, and
we enjoy it.
It's fun broadcasting, for sure. And it's fun broadcasting to all of you, and I think that over the years, I think that more and more of you have watched and genuinely do care about what we say.
Hopefully,
which is ridiculous, because that's it. All we do is just honestly chat shit about your team.
No, and it even got to the point where we've had random people on YouTube asking us.
That is actually true. We have had that a few
clearly
times,
we sound like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly that. No, for sure. And I welcome that. If anybody is out there, who wants to ask a question or is indeed interested in just a fantasy league in general, then do let us know, because if there's anything that we do know is, particularly Nath anyway, he knows how to run a fantasy league, because this is really good.
And how to host a podcast.
And to run everything else with it.
Bizarrely, I got an email from, I don't know if it was one of these bot things. I want to see if I can find it, because something emailed saying, I love your podcast. I'd like you to teach other people how to do podcasts and stuff.
Really?
I don't know. I ignored it because it sounded kind of like a bit botty.
I mean, it could just be someone in the tech industry, to be fair. It's the same thing, isn't it?
I don't even know how they got my email.
That's it. I mean,
oh, it should have come. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is the email.
Hi. Did you get my last email? I'd like you to be. Yeah, it does sound a bit like that.
I didn't even see the first email. This is the most bizarre thing. So he said,
Wisdom app team. So, well, if you're from the Wisdom app, if you
really do love this podcast and are watching, send me another email so I know that you're real.
If you are James K from the Wisdom app team, right, and you are real, right, I'm gonna put it out there. On the bottom of this very video, comment.
Yeah.
And if you do it,
then we will help you on your own.
Oh, absolutely right. Exactly that.
Because he's got all the hosting skills, I've got all the tech skills.
Exactly.
Between us.
We can do this, right? It's it. What we're really angling for is the BBC to catch us one day and go, you guys, that's it.
Yeah, well, some people have, just speak about the show in general, people say stuff and obviously engage with them and watch it. And let's face it, if it was garbage, they wouldn't bother watching it at all.
True that.
Some people have even said to me, Pat's one of them, I'm pretty sure some other people have you ever actually thought about just doing a generic some sort of
I know, see exactly that, yeah.
Because clearly we're doing something right.
We must be doing something right. That's it. I know. See, the engagement is reasonably high. So, and we are really only broadcasting, to a very niche, 12,
closed,
very much a 12-team.
My plans for global domination, they've stalled somewhat. I won't lie.
They have a little bit, but there's still time. So there's still plenty of time.
Yep.
So there is definitely scope to do that. And there's not many. It's not. I mean, I don't know if there's many British people doing it, but to actually have a British voice on the end of a podcast.
I don't know if there is even a bespoke British
NFL
hosted NFL fantasy podcast.
That's what we're interested in. We're all about the fantasy game here.
Yeah.
Because introducing more people to the game ultimately introduces more fans.
I did. This is exactly what I did in 2009.
There you go. Indeed, and that is it. So that's the crux of it. So you know what? Anyone from if we just say NFL enough times, they're going to catch us eventually. So
hopefully.
That's it. So
I'll put the tag on
NFL, where it is, NFL UK, NFL Europe, just NFL. Just come and get us. We're ready.
Anyway, for the rest of you LSU folks, that is all of the Hall of Fame nominations. So a surprise one there at the end, which pretty good contender. We've got, like I say, we don't have the full house. About half the league didn't provide a nomination.
If you got nothing to say,
Yeah, I think in seasons past, certainly for some of the newer people, it's been difficult, and I understand that. Obviously, you need to have something celebratory to stand a chance. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
No, exactly that. You will one day. That's it. And this could be your year.
Could be. Friday the 13th. 11:59 is the deadline for the votes. The voting is open now. I will check in with Pat if he's going to write his article. Do you want me to write the article? Do you want to write the article for the podcast one?
That's it. I mean, I'm happy to give it a go. That's it.
Okay.
I'm happy to do it.
So keep an eye out for the 2 articles yet to come. You can go read the others. They're up now. Obviously, for the renoms, you can go back and listen to the ones from last year. I don't think we have anything else.
There isn't anything in this podcast. This has been a really nice introduction. Yeah, that's it for sure. So.
And it's nice to see you again because I haven't seen you in a while outside of football. It's been a crime since we only live a 9-minute walk.
It's ridiculous, 100%. So there you are. That's it. So broadcasting live from Whiteley, UK.
Yeah, exactly. LOC HQ now resides in a PO postcode.
It does. That's it. North the M27. So we're officially in the north. There you have it. It's it. Yeah, we're that's it. I'm thrilled that the season started, and the fact of the matter is that it's only a month really until the draft.
Yep.
And the next 3 or 4 podcasts that we do are always exciting.
Yep.
So what I will say that now is that for those who are watching and have got to the end with us, we always do a mock draft podcast in maybe 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Yep.
We would love as many people to be a part of that as we can, because it's really difficult sometimes when there's only 2, 3 or maybe 4 of us to go, this guy would probably pick this. If the person who actually was there could do it with us, that would be superb. So if you're not doing anything, it will be probably, it could be any day now, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll schedule a day because everyone's busy at the moment.
Yeah.
But we'll find a pocket time where we can get some people.
Yeah. We would love you to be there, though.
That one will probably be, not next week's, because next week we will take a look back before we look forward at 2020, the draft, and the season in general. Shooting for the week after that then, so that would be week beginning the 9th of August.
Yep.
So at some point in that week we'll try and do that pod. And then after that, we might have a week off because the divisional event is on the 21st, so we'll do the review of that, and we'll have the divisions by that point, so we'll review the divisions and the schedule reveal.
That
will come in the same episode. So, in fact, we could either do the week beginning the 9th, the mock draft episode, or after that episode, either or.
Well, don't forget as well, so we especially after the division line event, we could well have a special one-off live show as well, which we talked about yesterday.
And the live show,
which is going to be super. So we could have a bumper day that day. We could have a live show and a podcast. So watch this space. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, it's all kicking back into gear.
Yeah, man.
Thank God. So with that, we hope you have a nice weekend, and especially you, Chris.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I fully intend to.
Good.
Hopefully you do too.
Yeah, indeed.
It's going to be hectic.
Yeah, going to the theatre for the first time, however long, apart from the pantomime tomorrow. So.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Well, have a good time, you guys, as well, whatever you're doing. And we'll check back with you next week. Take it easy.